What's up, guys? Benny D here. Today I'm going to share with you everything that I learned being the brokest person in a group full of multi-millionaires in Los Angeles, Bel-Air. But first, we're going to need some coffee. So, if you guys don't already know, I started at the beginning of this year as an entrepreneur, DM setter to DM discovery caller to closer. The business started at about $15,000 a month. We're doing $85,000 a month as of November 2023. So we're doing really, really well, but I am not the owner of the business. I am just running the entire sales team. So I was lucky enough to get invited by my millionaire mentor, also the person who's running this business, Contentpreneurs, to join him in Bel-Air to hang out at this dope conference. And I'm like, listen, man, am I allowed to be here? And he's like, dude, don't even worry about it. Totally fine. Show up. I talked to Bolton. You're good to go. Dan Bolton's the guy who's running it. So I said, sure, man, this is awesome. So I pulled up. Well, of course I'm going to pull up, right? So I pulled up from Boston to LA. Never been in LA before. Got it. I bought the Airbnb. I'm like, dude, I got the Airbnb. I'll cover it. Because, you know, Andrew Tate, you got to pull your weight. The first day, we get there and we're all introducing each other, right? Everybody's like, oh, I'm this, I run a business at this. Oh, I'm this, I run a business at this. There's 30 people there. I'm the third to last person to go. Ted's the fourth. Ted goes, and then immediately after Ted goes, Dan Bolton, the owner, goes, all right, let's go over here. And he skips over me to the next person. And that was the start of my MJ. I took that shit personally. I took that so personally, man. And so as soon as we were done doing the introductions, where I did not speak, I just stood there kind of keeping my face from blushing with a smile on my face, like, yeah, this is fine. I went outside. I scrolled back because I have access to all of Ted's accounts. I scrolled back up to where he paid the $3,000 to get in, and I sent Dan Bolton $3,000. I'm like, screw that, bro. If you're going to treat me like that, here, take the money. And I didn't tell Dan Bolton. I also didn't tell Ted. I kept it completely to myself because it wasn't as much about getting the props for doing it. It was more about no free handouts, despise the free lunch. So after I realized that Dan Bolton might be harboring some resentment for me getting it for free, I wanted to make sure I did everything in my power to clear that air. Now, for the rest of the retreat, it was absolutely incredible. One moment. And I learned so much. I also learned and continuing to learn how to be humble, how to shut up, and how to listen when you're in a room full of people that can provide way more value than you can. And I'll tell you this, one of the biggest lessons that I learned coming in is you might manage, me personally, a sales team of young men who are looking up to you, eager to learn, because I can provide insane value to them. What I need to know is when I go and show up to these places, I need to shut up and listen so I can learn and extract all this knowledge from, there's this woman who went upstairs and closed a $50,000 deal, 15 minutes, came down and chatted with me. I need to shut up and listen so I can learn all of her skills and then bring that back to my team. So here's a big piece. If you want to be successful, you got to understand that if you're the best person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You want to get into a room where there people are so much freaking better than you that you are insecure. And you're like, shoot, do I even belong here? And that was a lot of what was going through my head is less of, do I even belong here? That happened for a second. The next second was, I'm going to earn this. I'm going to earn and I'm going to prove that I deserve to be here. So for every person that would overlook me, I would say, awesome, another chip on the shoulder. Watch what happens next year. Watch what happens in 2024 when I walk back in the room with Ted and we're running a multi-million-dollar a month agency instead of $85,000 a month. And you guys are looking at us and hoping that we're hosting retreats and bringing you guys in. So take a chip on the shoulder and really use that. And don't take it as anger. Anger is a solid spectrum of emotions, right? Anger is right around here. But if you're on the map of consciousness, look it up if you're interested. But if you really want to channel the correct energy, channel it in love and acceptance. So what I was practicing was feeling my spirit right here, radiating light. White is the color that just comes to me often. So radiating white light and knowing I accept this reality. I will continue to grow and I will accept it out of love. but gosh, am I going to show you guys what my soul truly is. So that was a big piece for me right there, is being a little bit insecure, but taking that chip and rotating it into something successful. Now that we've gone over that, we can go even deeper into the heart. Because what the first thing I learned, and I'll tell you this, when I got there, I'm like, awesome. I'm going to learn all the secrets. They're going to teach me all of the things that the rich people know, that the broke people don't. I finally made it in, right? I finally made it. And the first thing Dan Bolton does is tell this sad story of how he built up the business, but was an alcoholic, but broke down and wasn't happy and was having so much trauma, and he traced it back to his childhood. And I'm sitting there mind boggled. I'm like, what? This is what I've been running away from my whole life. Right? Right? This is what got me here, like the trauma, the going through the trials and tribulations so that I can be successful. And then he draws out this beautiful diagram that I'm going to draw out for you guys today. And it goes like this. This will cost you $3,000, by the way, okay? This you're going to need to send it below. And hey, check this out. So he drew this beautiful triangle, right? And then I want you to guess. There's 4 H's. And I want y'all to comment right now if you can guess it before I write it in. The bottom is the most important. So if you guys can guess the bottom, if you guys can guess the second one, the third, anticipation is killing me. Okay. Boom. It goes heart, head, hands, how. Okay, and you'll notice that the heart is at the very bottom. So what we did was go through this entire structure. And this is really, really interesting because people kept flipping back. And I really internalized this and I grabbed it the right way. And I really, really leaned in. Heart is at the bottom because heart is the foundation. He went through the story of how, listen, he was successful, but everything kept crumbling and his family was falling apart. And it looked like he was doing well, but he really wasn't doing well because of all of the garbage in his past that he had not recycled and turned into something beautiful. He had not done the inner work to enjoy the outer reality. And I really enjoyed that. And what I took from it was, where am I not keeping up to par, and what needs improvement? And for me, it's family and it's fun. I am not a fun dude because I'm so focused on finances, okay? Shout out to Thumos, the 8 Fs. I am so focused on finances that often I neglect my family and often I neglect fun. And so what I took from that is I need to come back and I need to show love to my family. I need to increase communications and I need to create a more fun environment for the people around me so that they can enjoy the fruits of my labors and I don't ruin the fruits of their labors. So take from that as you will. One of the big learnings is heart. Guys, if your heart isn't in the right place, if you're coming into the entrepreneur space and you're just hoping to make a ton of money and say, screw y'all, I did it, it's not going to end up the way you like. And this clicked easily for me because I came from the music scene, right? If you haven't heard my music, 500,000 streams on Spotify, Benny D. I figured at 18 that I would just sell my soul, do a bunch of drugs, and get rich and famous and be soulless. Like I really was leaning into like, I'm gonna sell my soul to the music industry and just do that and be like, screw y'all, I made it and I'm depressed and this is what I'm here for. And so now I did that evolution. I already went through that evolution once, and so now it's like, okay, I need to go through this evolution again. And this one was much easier. So I came home and spent a lot of time with my girl. I just booked a trip to Greece to take her out. And I'm like, okay, I hold my finances so close, but that's the number one. Like I got that almost 10 out of 10. Like I can teach y'all how to make $10,000 a month, no problem. Because I'm doing more than that. You understand? So, and if you need help with that, let me know. So I realized, okay, if this is doing well. I am growing at a trajectory that I am okay with. The projections that I have for next year make me happy. They make me comfortable. As long as I continue working on that route, I'm going to be okay over there. And then I assessed my situation with my relationships and my family and my fun. And I said, listen, this trajectory is kind of going downwards. I'm making more money, but I'm holding it tight. What I need to do is make a gesture, is create a more fun and happy environment for the people that I love. So I booked a trip to Greece. Gonna go hit Santorini, gonna hit Milos, gonna hit Athens for the history. So take from that the heart as you will. I took it as you need to go enjoy life a little bit more, because what's the point of having a bunch of money if you got nobody to share it with? Number 2, head. Head is, and these are all connected, which is really, really cool. Just like the root chakra goes all the way up. You see what I'm saying? So the head is, where's your headspace at, guys? Where is your psychology and your relationship to yourself? For some people, it might be, oh, I'm not sure I can do it. Oh, I don't believe in myself. I'm not worthy. For some, it might be, oh, I'm better than everybody. Screw all these people. Figure out where you're at in your head and find that balance. Because if you're coming on to, especially me, if you're on a sales call, if I'm on a sales call and I think I'm better than somebody, then I'm going to not be able to empathize with them. If they're coming to me going, listen, man, I'm making $2,000. I can't pay my bills. And I'm like, well, I'm making 15. That's not going to do anything for me, and it's not going to do anything for them. So making sure your head is in the right place of when I hop on my calls, I go, dude, how can I help you? How can I help you? I'm just giving. I'm giving info for free with no issue with that. I genuinely want to see people succeed. So headspace for me is pretty darn good. You know, in the winter in Boston, it gets a little cold, so you might deal with a little bit of depression, a little bit of laziness, right? But being aware of that is super important. So figure out where your headspace is at, and then understand, well, what can I do to improve my headspace? Often, if you improve your heart, then you're going to improve your headspace. And often, if you improve your health, your fitness, you're going to improve your headspace. Do things that make you feel confident in yourself. Carry around, if you're a man, right? Carry around a knife as long as you've got emotional control, just so you feel like a man. You can open boxes, you can cut things down. You never know how many uses you need for that. In this day and age, a lot of men are actually boys. They haven't gone through that rite of passage. So doing things that challenge your masculine energy and then conquering those will increase your headspace of, I am secure in myself, I know who I am. So that's a big one. And if you need help with that, hit me up. I have an amazing men's group full of wise men that I use for counsel. And they advise me and they change my life. So definitely getting around a band of brothers and a group of men older than you who have already gone through what you've gone through that can advise you in that headspace and in that evolution towards being a man. Number 3, hands. This is a great one, guys. This is what a lot of people, and as we get to the top of the pyramid, you notice what people are really focusing on, okay? Hands, your skills. What are you good at? For me, it's speaking. For me, it's conveying value in 3 words or less. This is hot. For me, it's understanding where people are coming from and getting them the right result for what they're dealing with, okay? So figuring out what your skills are. For you, you might be a mechanic. For you, you might be a salesperson. For you, you might be a basketball player. So understanding what your skills are and then further developing them so that you can be the best in your space. And then once you've got your skills on point, now it's the how. Now it's the what are the tricks on Instagram to get more views? Now it's the what do I need to do to get more muscle? Now the how is the smallest. It's the very, very top of the pyramid, but people treat it invertedly. People treat it invertedly, like how is the most important part. Like hands are the second most, and then it's head, and then it's heart at the very, like, oh, just a little bit. No. That's completely backwards. And what I found after he went through this entire thing of how the heart is the most important, we broke for 5 minutes, and can you guess what we did? We broke out, 30 people. Everybody kind of found a couple people to chat with. There was two other colored brothers there. So I went over and I started chatting with them. And the first thing that I heard somebody across from me goes, so what kind of funnel do you use? I'm like, what the heck? What are y'all doing? We just went through this revelationary moment. And I think this is why it's so great that I was almost the youngest one there. The other brother, he was 26. So I was just about the youngest one there. Nobody was younger than me. I was tied for the youngest. And I was the most open to learning because I was the brokest. And I'm not even broke, but I was making the least amount of revenue month over month. Actually, that's debatable. I think I was making a couple more bucks than one or two people. But the point is, I was so open to learning because of that first lesson of I'm going to come in here humble and shut up so I can bring back food to my team so that they can learn from what I've learned, that I really, really resonated and internalized the heart. So when people started talking about the how and the how and the how, I said, screw that. And I started going up to women. There's 3 women there, and I really get along with, the older motherly figures, and just really digging in and listening to the men and hearing their stories and really wanting to understand where they're coming from and where their heart is. And what's really, really funny is the next presenter got up, young kid. Actually, he was younger than me. He was 21 years old. doing $115,000 a month. They just hit their best month, and everybody asked them, so how do you get follows on Instagram? So how do you do this? So how do you do this? And I was just a little bit over it, and so I raised my hand. I'm like, listen, and I never spoke the entire time. This was the last day. I said, listen, man, I'm really excited about learning about your how, but what I'd really love is to go over, you know how Dan was just talking about the heart, the head, the hands, and the how? I would love to hear more about how your heart influenced your head and how your head influenced your hands and how your hands influenced your how to get to where you are. And everybody's like, oh yeah, that's a great question. And so then he dived into the personal relationships he had with his parents, and now he had to go back and fix those. And once he did so, he was able to build a business more steadily and crush it. Okay, so that was a big learning for me as well. And then the other one was, geez, when you hang out with a bunch of millionaires, you get to be a part of a schedule that you normally would not be a part of. So I ended up at the school headquarters, right? And if you guys don't want to know what school is, it's the hottest, it's the biggest educational online platform, and it's going to be so much bigger than even I can comprehend. So if you're not on that right now, definitely get in there. And I got to learn from the people that are creating that stuff. And I got to see their work habits, and their work habits are very consistent. And I was staring into Airbnb with my millionaire mentor. So we would wake up around 5, maybe 6 at the latest, and we would crush it at the gym. Jog over to the gym, crush it at the gym. We ran a sub 25K, and we were just hitting PBs. We'd come home, we'd shower up, and then we'd hit the retreat, or we'd go do some business, grab a coffee, and crush the retreat. So there was no real downtime. And what I noticed in my personal life, I don't know about you guys, is I have downtime. My day isn't as saturated, isn't as dense as I would like it to be. Now that doesn't necessarily mean I have back-to-back calls, because that honestly just leads to you peeing in a water bottle, which Dan Bolton talked about, which isn't very healthy. But it's about having stuff to do, or being in an environment that inspires creativity and pushes you to be your best self. When I'm alone by myself, like I am right now in my own crib, I wake up and I'm like, I like the inspiration. I like the camaraderie. I like the competition. So getting yourself around like-minded individuals who don't have the fear of leading, that are willing to push you, that are willing to challenge you, that are willing to wake up, and that are willing to go to sleep at 8. We're going to sleep at 8 p.m., to set ourselves up for the next day, that are willing to, sacrifice drinking. I haven't drank all year, guys. Willing to sacrifice drinking, doing different types of drugs, doing the things that aren't really good for you in order to be the best self. So I would say getting around people who are like-minded with you is probably one of the best things you could do. So just to summarize, guys, let's see, where did we start? We started with making sure that you are incredibly humble and shutting the heck up so that you can really absorb information. Don't be the best person in the room. Find a room where you are not the best so that you can learn and then go teach that, because the best way to retain information is to teach it. Number 2, get in your heart and ask yourself the hard question of what do I need to heal from? Because everybody's got trauma. It could be a capital T or a lowercase t, but most of the time if you go and have those difficult conversations, or at least attempt to, because the other party might not be open to having those conversations, if you are willing to pursue that, then you are going to find much more clarity and comfort within yourself, which then allows you a strong foundation to build upon. And number 3, get around people who want to be successful and are willing to do the work. And if possible, get around people who are more successful than you. So I guess that's just a second parter to the number 1. But environment is absolutely everything. Get around a dope environment and get rid of all the BS. Get rid of all the distractions, guys. If you're still playing video games, a lot of the time that's really not helpful, right? Figure out what you want to do in life, and then figure out what the perfect setup would be so that you can make that happen. If this video is helpful for you, please hit me with a like. Please hit me with that subby. I want to grow this channel so that I can help a lot of y'all reach where you want to reach, because goodness gracious, if I had the mentors that I have now when I was younger, I would be so much further. If I had YouTube videos like this when I was younger, I would be a lot further. So let's continue to create a world and a reality where this information is available everywhere. And guys, if you need help with your business, if you need help just getting ideas out, I won't even try and sell you anything, guys. I know I'm a closer, but I'm looking for a bunch of young men who are just looking to be the best that they can be, that just want to chat. I'll chat, I'll text you, a voice message, whatever you need. I'm here. I want to be the person you can bounce ideas off of. I want to be an unbiased opinion that can tell you that shit sucks or that's freaking dope, that can just provide that support and allow you to grow. So hit me up if you need that. Benny D Lowkey on IG. That's where I'm at all the time. And as always, I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Bow, bow.